Albums named after a color. I think this is a really interesting niche topic that needs more exploration because I think there's a lot of colors left on the board and I want to explore it. So, you know the Beatles, the White Album, right? It's colloquially known that it's called the Beatles, right? But everyone knows it as the White Album. So how many are left? Now, I think there are 3 rules. 1, the album cover has to be primarily that color. It can't be smatterings of green and be the Green Album, right? 2, it has to be a classic album. You can't just have any old album be called the Green Album. It has to be something that everyone goes, oh yeah, I know what that is. And 3, I don't think just because you name your album the Green Album, because a lot of people have, that it's considered the Green Album. The culture has to define that. So let's go through. The White Album, skip. We know what that is. The Black Album. Metallica, I think, claimed that originally, and everyone in the rock and roll space knows the Black Album as Metallica. I do think this is a tie, though, with Jay-Z, who named his album the Black Album, but is very much known in the hip-hop sphere, so this is definitely a draw. The Grey Album, I also think counts, which is Danger Mouse's remix of Jay-Z's The Black Album and the Beatles' White Album. It's a classic in the hip-hop space, definitely has been claimed by Danger Mouse. Red, I'm surprised this is not really the Red Album. So Taylor Swift has her album Red, but it's not red in color. You have The Games, the Red Album, but it's not a classic. Talking Heads 77 is a red cover, but no one calls it the Red Album, which is a shame, and that could be a contender. But I think Red is still available. Orange is interesting. If I said to you the Orange Album, I think most people would think of Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. If you just named the album Frank Ocean, it would be the Orange Album. But alas, it's Channel Orange. We all know it as that, so I think Orange is still available. Green and Yellow, nothing stuck out. Some people have called their albums the Green Album, the Yellow Album, but nothing is really clearly standing out as the one. Blue is an interesting one. I think Weezer takes this one because they did a whole color series. Shame it's not Joni Mitchell's Blue or kind of blue, but the Blue album's taken by Weezer. Purple is super interesting. Whitesnake had an album called the Purple Album, but I don't think that counts. And if Prince had released an album that was just purple, dude, it would have been over. That would have been claimed forever, but purple is still available. I love the question of pink because My Bloody Valentine's Loveless is a pink album, but is not the pink album. And I think this one is wide open. Nicki Minaj, Blackpink, it's right there. If you want to drop a classic album, the Pink Album, come on. Side note, Primus had an album called the Brown Album, but they can claim that. So yeah, pink, purple, green, orange, yellow, red. What I'm realizing is that not many artists are bold enough, daring enough to go single color. This is my color and I am claiming this color forever. How many people can do that? It has to be a classic. And I'm surprised, honestly, how many are left, but correct me if I'm wrong if there's any more out there that we should be counting.